Hey, this is Jennifer Burgess from Jennifer Burgess Fitness, and this is my son Declan and his twin brother Jake, and I wanted to talk today a little bit about plagiocephaly. A lot of people see Jake wearing his helmet and they ask me about why he has to wear the helmet and just a lot of different questions. So really, plagiocephaly is really just a fancy way of saying that he had a misshapen head. So he had a flat spot, which in turn made the front part on one side grow out further. And then his ears started looking like one was a little bit further front to the other. But really what we noticed first was that he only wanted to look to one side. And that actually is caused by what is called torticollis. And that's when one side of the neck has a tight muscle. See what I get to deal with all the time? And so torticollis and plagiocephaly are a lot like the chicken and the egg. Like no one's really sure whether one causes the other or vice versa. So he had torticollis, which brought his neck tightened here, and he looked always to one side, which made one side, he's biting my foot, which made one side of his head have a flat spot. So we went to the orthopedist and we had a scan done. And we got him scanned, and his differential was a 17 out of 20. 20 being the worst, and anything over 10 usually they don't, that's kind of questionable. If it's under 10 whether they'll do anything. But he had a 17, so that meant he was pretty severe. And what he's wearing is called a star band, so you'll hear them called bands or helmets. And no, you don't have to get this really, really cool design, but Jake's pretty hardcore. We call it his pirate hat. He's Jake and the Neverland Pirates. But anyways, you can get plain, but then there's also websites where you can get stickers for them and put their names on them and stuff. His first helmet he actually had an allergic reaction to. So he was really red, and it was obvious that something was wrong. So we had to get a new one ordered, and that one's worked out great. He's been in it for about 4 months, and we're hoping he'll get it off sometime soon. The last scan he had was about a month ago, and he had gone from 17 down to 10.5. So he's made significant improvements. We'd like for him to be between 4 and 8, but we'll just see how that goes. But he's made great improvements. He doesn't mind it at all. People ask me all the time, does it bother him? You gradually work your way into it over the course of a week, and they hardly, I mean, they're so little, they hardly even notice. And as you can see, it doesn't faze him one bit. Taking it on and off doesn't bother him. He wears it 23 hours a day. He gets 1 hour off, and we'll cover that in a minute. I'll show you how I clean it and wash his hair every day. And that's really kind of it. I mean, he really doesn't mind it at all. So if you are worried that your child's only looking in one direction, or if you're worried that he or she has a flat spot, just get your doctor to look at it. And if you need to be referred to an orthopedist, most of them do the scans for free, so you really don't have anything to lose. If they scan your baby and it's not severe, or it's not something that's worth getting the helmet or the band for, then great. If it is, then you know, you can do this. The helmet doesn't weigh anything. I mean, it's really light, and he crashes into everything. His nickname is Crash because he will bang his head into anything, and he's not scared. So now I'm going to show you how we go about taking the helmet off and cleaning it. Okay, so it's gotten a lot more difficult to get the helmet off because he's a little wiggly now. But all you do to take the helmet off is unstrap it. Stick your hands just barely on the inside. You can pull it really hard and just pull it right off. You can see he's a little sweaty, so that's why you have to wash their hair every day, because he's been wearing his in the winter time, but in the summer I hear it's just crazy. But this thing is really, really, really light, and like I said, you can pull it really far apart. If you want to see what the inside looks like, they actually use the miscolored parts to tell what parts are having contact, and they'll add pieces. Jake's like, this is mine. They'll shave off and add pieces to it, but it's very, very much custom made for him. And the way our place does it, you pay for it kind of like you pay for braces. You pay for everything up front, and so that covers the helmet, any adjustments, all visits, and it's pretty pricey, and most insurance companies don't cover it, unfortunately, but this little guy's made great improvements, and we're going to go wash his sweaty head now. Okay, so unfortunately for me and fortunately for you, we don't have smell-o-vision because his head really stinks, and that's only every day. So how I hold him is usually like a kind of a football hold, and I just turn the sink on, and he's gotten pretty used to it. Sometimes he cries, but we just give him a little rub-a-dub-dub. Yeah. Give him a little rub-a-dub-dub. And I try to get his forehead and by his ears where it touches too. You gotta go pretty quick because he's not a big fan of the rinsing cycle. Go, bud. Good job, bud. You're a good little fella. Good job. He's gotten so much more hair since we started. It's gotten a little more difficult. You're not supposed to cut their hair until they've gotten it off because it's that precise, the star band. Okie dokie. So now we got the wild hair going everywhere. And you leave it off for an hour and just make sure that his hair is nice and dry. And now I'll show you how we clean the helmet. Okay, to clean the helmet, you only can use alcohol. So I just usually squirt a decent amount of alcohol in there and let it just be a puddle. And I use just an extra toothbrush, not the one you're going to use, and just brush inside the entire helmet. You can hear Jake whining in the background. But you need to just get it good and clean. It's always going to have those stains on it, but like I said, they actually use the stained areas to kind of tell where the contact is the most. So then after I've gotten it completely clean, I just take this rag and just wipe out the inside and then let it dry. And like I said, he keeps it off for an hour, and so that's usually plenty of time to make sure that the helmet's good and dry. And then we put it back on for another 23 hours and do it all over again tomorrow. I hope this helped, and if you have any questions about plagiocephaly, or if your child has a helmet or needs a helmet, I'm not a doctor, but you know, I'm happy to help if I can. And if you like what you see, click like and feel free to subscribe to my channel. Thanks.